Hello and welcome back to Inquisitor Martyr. Last time we started off the Drukhari Menace questline, and we will keep going with that.
Inquisitor. Reconnaissance rituals indicate a hostile activity in the chambers adjacent to the entrance.
Your hunch was right, Priest. This is indeed a trap.
Clarification needed. All my deductions were based on facts.
Let's just leave it that way then.
So, a bunch of, well, not a bunch, but a decent amount of footage came out recently
Detected in the vicinity.
of
Contact is imminent.
this new game called, I think it's Unrecorded, or Unrecord. It's a police body cam video game. That's really all they show is like body cam. You take a couple shots, your guy then radios in shots fired and continues to chase people. You body a couple dudes and then the footage ends. But you got all these people, some big name streamers even, sitting here like, oh, this makes me really uncomfortable, this is gonna make people into shooters, and I'm like, nah, it really won't. Let's be honest. It's just a fancy looking game. And my first thought wasn't even anything like that. My first thought was, man, this looks boring. Seriously. I don't see the appeal in having these games that are just tech demos. Oh, look at what we can do. We can make a really believable environment. Cool. You'll play it once and then you're done. Or the more likely result of this game would be it's probably streamer bait. That's all it is. Because it's not as interesting as like SWAT 4 or Ready or Not or anything like that. It just isn't that appealing. It's a tech demo. And there are people bent out of shape. Oh my god, you're a police officer shooting people. I'm thinking, my guy, you clearly either have some memory issues or you did not grow up in the 2000s. Because I remember, God, Sleeping Dogs, Dead to Rights, I think it was Urban Chaos. God, what else? To a degree, you could consider Max Payne, because he was a cop. Like, there was a lot of games where you were a cop just putting rounds into criminals. This isn't some magical, newfangled idea people have come up with. This stuff's existed for ages. It's just now people draw an issue with it. Honestly, I miss the days of, like, Urban Chaos and all these other police games that are just over the top. That stuff's fun. Who doesn't like essentially RoboCop? Like, that's just, it's entertaining. If you read too far into it, anything can be a problem. Simple as that. You're better off just being like, yeah, it doesn't look good as a game, it looks good graphically, and leave it at that. That is your safest bet. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I thought it was amusing, just people making, I always hate those bad faith arguments of, oh, it'll turn people violent. That is some, I think of what, Jack Thompson back in the 90s saying that about Mortal Kombat. That OG Mortal Kombat's gonna make kids start ripping their heads off of each other and all this stuff for GTA and the thing is, none of that you could really trace to games. I played a good amount of GTA growing up. Never once did I think, I'm going to emulate GTA. I was always just like, I stole a car. And then in real life, I'd just be like, well, time to go to school. It kind of reminds me of, what is it, 6 Days in Fallujah? 7 Days in Fallujah? That game that every once in a while you get a little bit of news about it, everybody gets up in arms, and then it just slinks back into the darkness. God, I remember the first time that got announced. People were losing their minds, and now people are angry again. Oh, you're turning the Iraq conflict, or the Iraq war, into a video game. Allow me to introduce you to every World War II Call of Duty game or Battlefield. Like, there's enough games out there that have done the same thing that it never discredited World War II or anything like that. So why would this game magically do anything? Hell, I would argue you could make a game today about the Russia-Ukraine conflict, and while people would be mad, it wouldn't do anything. It's not... Unless you were out and about doing satire or blatantly demonizing one group or another. If you just present it as, hey, this is war, this is what happens, I don't think there'd be a lot of issues. Which I actually saw... Man, I've seen some wild stuff lately. There was a video of this Russian dude getting grenaded, and people were cheering this on. Like, this Russian dude, he looked like he was hiding under a tank. I don't think he was in any shape to fight. And he got grenaded, and people are getting weird. Like, I'm not sitting here cheering on Russia. I think the war is an unjust act and shouldn't have happened in the first place. But I also understand a lot of the soldiers are people who did not want to be there. The Ukrainians are defending their homes. The Russians are a lot of conscripts. And it's the curse of propaganda. People are... They're not desensitized. They're given a very... I'm trying to think how to word it. A very skewed view of things. It's kind of like how... I actually saw an interview about this where they were talking about Ukrainians fighting within, like, Crimea. And, yeah, I think that's it. The little island part that's to the southeast. Not Snake Island, like the part that got annexed. Yeah, it is. Now that I think about it. But they were talking about partisans. And in this interview, somebody had asked, hey, what's the difference between partisan and insurgent? And the guy says, it depends on if you support him or not. And it's things like that, where how you word things can change people's perception. And that's the thing. This goes from a war that's normal people versus normal people, dying for the ambitions of a leader who can't be bothered to fight himself. Instead of that, it's painted as brave heroes versus inhuman monsters. And because of that, you lose that sympathy, and you lose that connection of like, hey, these are innocent people, or somewhat innocent people. You know, these are normal dudes who got roped into some BS, and they're dying for it. And it's sad. Because people treat it like it's like it's a game. Or it's a fandom. Oh, I cheer on my character. Like, nah, dude, this is war. Real shit happens. I don't know, people are just getting weird. I get it's gone on for a year, so it's about time people start getting weird about it, but it just doesn't sit right with me. Sorry, it all just kind of stems from, like, just weird stuff, you know? It does kind of tie back to the Unrecord game, like, people have very skewed perceptions of things when they really shouldn't have that.
My most sincere gratitude.
But yeah. The game's mid, or at least it looks mid. I bet it will be like 7 days in Fallujah or 6 days. I can never remember, it's one of the two. However many days in Fallujah, where it's gonna get forgotten almost instantly. Because that's always what happens with these games.
Inquisitor.
You know what this all reminds me of? Actually? Do you remember the game Hatred? For people who don't remember, maybe weren't super into gaming at the time, this came out, God, this was 2012, 2013? No, it had to be later than that. It was in the 2010s range. Because I think Total Biscuit was still alive. But what it was this black and white isometric shooter where you're this super edgy guy in all black who looks like Nathan Explosion from Metalocalypse, and he goes on just like a mass killing spree, and the game has the worst writing ever, and it culminates with you like destroying the town by setting off the nuclear reactor and somehow causing not just a meltdown, a nuclear explosion. Which, damn good luck doing that, my guy. That'd take skill, considering there's a major difference between a nuclear bomb and a nuclear power plant. Power plants just boil water. That's all it is. It's just a giant steam engine, effectively. But, yeah, I remember games journalists and everybody's freaking, oh my god, this is the worst thing ever. It's gonna cause X, Y, and Z. Our crops will die off, our animals will cease giving birth, and a plague will fall upon our lands. It came out and everybody forgot it existed like 2 weeks later, because the game sucked. And that's all I can think of is this Unrecord will just be another one of those 2 second, like 15 minutes of fame, kind of controversy bait games that just disappears. I mean, it's before my time, but stuff like Leisure Suit Larry, people got up in arms about that, or even further back, Custer's Revenge. Mainly that one was just kind of messed up. There's no, like, whoever made that one was kind of screwy, but provocative games have existed for a long time. and none of them have staying power. The only reason Leisure Suit Larry is remembered is because they made like 5 games. I think 3, 5, some number of them. Like, you have stuff like that.
How dare you?
Yes, I do dare. I just get tired of the, like, outrage baiting games. I'd rather have games that don't suck.
Admirable work, Inquisitor. I wish you could bring that Xenox corpse to me. My vibroscalpels thirst for Drukhari blood.
This kind of personal commitment is somewhat unexpected from you, Marcus.
It's like, it just reminded me, people were talking about Lollipop Chainsaw and Bayonetta, and they're like, oh, how can straight guys like these games? And I'm like, I remember when Bayonetta came out, and people were butt frustrated to the nth degree. Because they're like, oh, this is just for guys. Even though the creator's a woman, or Lollipop Chainsaw. They're like, oh, it objectifies women. And now people are trying to retcon history and say it's always been for women. Like, damn, you got me. What straight guy doesn't like well-endowed cheerleaders? Like, it's such a dumb, revisionist view of things. And it's like, why does this matter? Just let people have fun. Let people play games. That's all I want. If I want to... Actually, I think they're doing a remaster of that. If I want to play it, you know, I just want to play it. Even though I personally beat that game, it was fun. But, like, I don't know, people get weird. People get really, like... not even protective, because, like, people get protective of 40K. Because people try to push stupid things into 40K. But, like, people get... they try to hijack stuff, I think is the best way of putting it. Or they try to deny their own previous feelings about it, like, oh, I always liked it. This was always for me, when you can look back in someone's history and find them actively hating it. Hell, you can find me actively hating stuff that I may have actually enjoyed later on. And I will own up to it. But I'm not gonna sit around and be like, oh, I was actually a fan the whole time. Nah. That's dumb. Just take responsibility for changing your mind. People are peculiar. Have we got anything good? No. Nah, whatever. Oh, I did slap some extra mods into all the constructs, so they actually have their third slot filled out. A lot of just, like, shield buff stuff. I also buffed the weapons on everybody to level 30, even though it only adds, like, 5 points of damage. I actually found out the Siloy Vivisectors, there's 2 different versions. There's the Claws, which do bleed, so I put those on. And then the Chain Blades, which root enemies in place. Cool to know. Nobody else gets any cool stuff. I was hoping for more status effects, because then I could just start stacking stuff, but they're just like, nah, no status effects for these guys. I might have to sit down and try to figure out what else I can do. Maybe with the other bots. Maybe the Siloy Combustors have something neat. I might have to switch out my Cataphrone in that case. But I don't know, because I don't really want another Siloy, because as you can see, 4,600 HP compared to 6,500 if you're including shield and everything. It's like, this is just a better overall. I just can't run another Cataphrone because these stupid Castellans take 50% of your data flux just reserve, which is really rough because I thought you could run 3 or 4 of them in a really tricky way, but I guess it might just be the Cataphrons. In that case, I'll just run 3 ranged and a melee 1 to tank, which is fine by me. I thought this mission was gonna end like 5 rooms ago. Like, oh, kill the name guy, okay. Oh, clear the rest of the area. Clear 1 room, like, okay, that's it, right? Oh, there's another room. Okay, go to the next room. Keep finding more rooms, it's like, come on, just be done already. That is actually a good measurement of things, is like, does your mission feel like it drags on? Oh yeah, the betray. Oh no, it's this guy.
He seems to be a psycho. Who are you?
My name.
The place has been cleaned. The Reaver.
Yay, we did it!
Margos, I need an explanation.
And your abs.
Yay! Now we get to do the next part.
Inquisitor, you have...
Inquisitor, I require.
But that is all for now. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit the like button, it helps out the channel a lot, and if you haven't already, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.